Hey everybody, and welcome to episode 23 of All Ride, and today marks part 2 in a series of shows that we're doing around an introduction to trail riding and enduro riding. Today we're going to be bringing you a course preview of the upcoming Enduro Western Cape, which is of course proudly partnered by Giant Bicycles and Tigerberg Mountain Biking Club.
The event takes place next week Sunday the 29th of July, out in the Contermanskloof Trail Network. One that we've showcased fairly frequently on All Ride, but also a firm favorite. The cool thing about the event is that there are 2 options when entering. 3 stages in the form of a light, and then 5 stages in the form of the main event. Today, as part of the course preview, we're going to bring you one of each. So stage 3, Supertubes, and stage 5, the Revised DH.
Now, of course, normally there are 3 of us on bikes and having a good time and riding the trails out there, but for this episode we wanted to do things a little bit differently because it speaks to the point that this event and this style of riding is accessible to pretty much everyone. It just depends on your mindset and how you set up your bike. So out of the 3 of us, I'm on the least trail bike, least enduro bike, and I'm certainly not as skilled as Tyron and Craig are, and yet I can ride all 5 stages and have a great time. The biggest game changer on the bike for me though is just dropping that seat post down, and it gives me all the control I need. Also, a bit of a disclaimer from our side is that there are many line options out there. We kind of showcasing 2 lines in each of the main features. If you want to put in a bit of time, like this weekend for example, and go out there and recce them yourselves, we encourage you to do so. And then finally, you'll see I'm wearing a full face helmet. That's simply because my half shell was kind of the helmet pad soaking wet from the night before. I'm soft like that, and yeah, it's to be honest, it smelled pretty manky, bro. So full face it was for me on this recce, but really don't let that put you off. Enough of the chit chat though, it's time to hit up Supertubes.
Let's go!
Alrighty, so here we go. Straight off the start, you want to be up and on the pedal as quickly as you can, getting that speed up so you can carry as much momentum through these early berms as possible. From there, it's essentially setting the tone for the rest of this run. Here you want to try and take advantage of any pedally bits in between and avoid braking through these turns, but they really are fast and flowing. The first technical rock garden on this particular section comes up pretty quick. The A-line is a lot faster. It's a little bit trickier to get into, but it is straighter on exit. You can see the B-line there, you've got a little bit more around. This is closely followed by a small rock drop. Honestly, there you don't even feel it. You just got to get off the back of your saddle and let the bike do the work. You now start to head back into more kind of flowy berm sections here, across another little bit of a trail, and up next is your next obstacle of the day. You've got this little pallet jump on the right hand side, or the B-line where I'm going now. Of course, the pallet jump isn't as big as it looks, and if you are a confident rider, then by all means give it a go. Just stay light on the bike. From then on, as you can see here, pretty much full taps. Keep up that speed as much as possible. There's some easy turns, and now we get into what Supertubes is famous for. Literally that Supertube feel where you're absolutely bombing down the trail. The berms are so well built and so long that you really don't need to be on the brakes at all. They hold your bike perfectly. So just try and make sure you enter and exit the berms in the right position in terms of your body position, your bike position, and of course your head looking through the turns at all times. And that's pretty much a summary of Supertubes, folks. So I'm pretty sure that the imagery there speaks for itself, and you'll all agree that Supertubes is just a whole lot of fun. It's fast, it's smooth. The trick is to stay off the brakes and just let it flow, keep that momentum up.
Looking forward to stage 5, definitely our kind of favorite on the hill, but also one of the most exciting. But with that in mind, the longest, most challenging, and also most committing. It's time to jump back on board with Doug Bird as we take on stage 5. Let's go, boy.
Yep. I'm always a little bit nervous heading into the revised DH line here for this particular stage, and I think rightfully so. The first third of this course is on the official DH line at Contermanskloof as well, and you'll start to see quite a bit more gravity as we move down the trail. Getting into the swing of things, there are a couple of nice berms that set you up for what will be the first rock garden of the day. Here there's literally one line through. It's about keeping the wheels clean and trying to maintain as much speed as possible. There are also some really tight turns here with rocks in them, so the idea is to try and stay high and maintain your speed, essentially the opposite of what I've just shown you there, and then literally try and power out of them if you do have the opportunity to do so, just wanting to of course avoid pedal strikes. Make the most of the smooth bits in between to keep that momentum up, but also make sure you don't over accelerate that you can't handle that speed through the turn. Next up here is quite a tight right-hander, followed by a tricky rock garden that is pretty steep. So the beeline there, as illustrated, is on the left-hand side. The racing snakes do cut on the inside there, but at this point for me, it's just about staying on the bike, staying smooth and having a good time. After that, so there's some nice friendly turns just before you head on to what is a transition to the revised Enduro Trail. So here's a great opportunity, get up on the pedals, get that power down, get that speed up, but not too much, because you got a left-hander coming up now into a series of what one could describe as shallow turns that are pretty loose under wheels. So if you go in there too hot and you aren't expecting that loose kind of slippery terrain, you might find yourself washing out there. So just be aware of that one. After these shallow turns, you head into what is without a doubt the longest rock garden section of the day, and there's so many line options that you can choose here. Our best advice is that you do head out there ahead of the event and go and have a look at them for yourself. Once we've gone through this on this POV run here, we're going to take you back up and we're going to show you what we found to be the most productive in terms of an A and a B line. So here we go. A line is pretty much up on the far right hand side. It is quite narrow and you just want to keep those wheels clean, maintain that speed. B line is a lot more direct up front. You're pretty much going down the middle of the trail, small bunny hop over a rock, but it does also set you up very nicely for that step. From then on, there's some great flow. You kind of get your speed right up there, but don't get too carried away, because there's a very hard 180-degree left-hander here that goes into a very steep section. I completely messed this up. You want to be going a bit further left than I did, so you don't end up almost stalling through this section. Well, once you've rounded that final turn on that steep section heading into the kloof, it's about letting those brakes go and picking up that speed into the kloof, maintaining that momentum through the turns. Here you can recover a little bit because it's been pretty busy up until now. This jump that you see will be taped off on the day, so you'll be going around, and from then on it's pretty much full gas. There are sometimes a chicane section set up here on the left hand side now that might be there on race day. We'll have to wait and see ahead of the final rock drop / rock garden. Be careful of wheel strikes here, folks. It didn't really work out for me all that well on this recce. Man, been having such a good time out here on the trails, but as is sometimes the case when you are riding trails and you kind of pushing your own personal limits, things can go a little bit sideways. So coming into this lost rock garden here towards the end of what will be the final stage of the EWC, I've never felt so smooth and kind of online as I did there, and then just felt boom, bit of a direct contact on the back wheel with a rock and essentially exploded the wheel. And then straight after that took a direct rock to the hoop, and you can see it's kind of exploded there, and she's definitely a goner. But that is just part of the game out here. One of the ways you can avoid doing this, and it's not something that I have done because this is like my more marathon trail bike, is insert FOMOs. Good place to get them is of course C6 products, and a lot of guys use them, and it definitely saves your hoops and your tires when you're riding through super rocky stuff.
How do you think your gate starts with you with that wheel?
Great.
That's the gate, let's see it.
Okay, pre-charge. Don't want to f*** anything else up, to be honest. So there we go, 2 of the main stages of the day and what you can expect out there. All in all, it's going to be a hell of a good time. Those of you that aren't quite sure whether you're going to do it yet, or maybe a bit nervous of the course, best thing to do is to head out there before the event. You've got plenty of time to do so. Go and ride the trails to get a little bit of a taste of what you can expect. Also, just a quick note from our side is that typically at an enduro event you don't get water points. It's normally self-supported, so we advise that you do take a trail pack with you, 2 liters of water, some trail snacks, and some spares as well, things like chain links. At least bring your multi-tools, some bombs, some plugs, and all those good things. But all in all, it's going to be a great day out there. Get your entries in. I believe that they are filling up pretty quickly, and yeah, it's going to be all around a good time. I'm an amateur though. I mean, a word of advice from Craig for the big dogs.
For me, it's all about that spirit of enduro. It's pretty much what we do on weekends anyway. Kind of ride up at a casual, chilled pace and then just bomb down. You and the boys, you can train it, you can go by yourself, but at the end of the day, it's a safe racing environment and it's there to have a good time. So we're going to be out there. We're really looking forward to it. It is going to be 5 stages of awesomeness. So the guys have put in a lot of hard work. Courses are looking really good, and it's just going to be one hell of a good time. We'll see you there next Sunday.
Yep, wait. Thanks for joining us for today's episode of All Ride. If you've enjoyed the show, please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Do leave us a comment, but also, more importantly, give us a share.